We are back.
Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
We're rolling?
We are. Nice new setup. I like it.
Yeah. So I wanted to do like there's like I don't know if you ever go on Pinterest. Sorry, I don't usually go on Pinterest, but
I used
sometimes
to.
they have really good. Do you?
I used to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went on Pinterest because I was trying to get like some inspiration with my office, and I kept going like, this looks nice, but it's very expensive, and I don't got money like that yet.
Yeah.
So, and then also I rent my house out, or I'm renting this place. So like, I don't want to, because I'm in my home studio, so I didn't want to like drill holes in the wall
Yeah.
and then have to pay for it later. So I went, how about I go with the cheapest option? I just get some black wallpaper, so it's not just bright, it's like a pale, stale white behind me. So I got some black wallpaper. I got a bookshelf that I'm going to build later too.
Yeah.
Um,
That
and
was
try to
good.
make it. I just figured the black's a good contrast for me.
It is.
So that's what I got going on here.
I like it. I like it.
Can't
Yeah.
remember if I used this last time. I think I did, right?
I don't think so. Well, no, I took
I think
that.
I did.
Maybe you did. Maybe you did. Because your audio was really good on the last one.
Yeah, I think it was this was good. My camera didn't work for some reason,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, for some reason I didn't even post it to YouTube. So if you listen to our last episode, you gotta listen to it on Spotify or Apple because it's I don't know. Matt's video did not want to work for him.
You got to
So
listen to it on the radio.
yep,
We got a caller.
exactly. We're trying to get some more guests on here. So we've got a handful of members in the Entrepreneur Lounge, and I'm trying so hard to get them on here because I'm like, man, we can create some really good clips for people on their LinkedIn and socials. Matt and I have been putting a bunch of content out there from the podcast. It's been a lot of fun. So, um, yeah, you wanted to talk about highest and best use, right?
Before we do that,
Yeah,
if you are listening to this podcast and you would like to hop on it, we'd love to have you.
100%. Yep, we would love
Garrett,
that.
how should they reach out to us?
Yeah, you probably can just reach out to my email address is fine. GP at thejonesgroup.us. You can also check out our website, which is thejonesgroup.us. Just put a submission in there. That's fine for now. Or you can check out the Entrepreneur Lounge website. Jones Group's our personal or our CPA and advisory firm, but you can also check out theentrepreneurlounge.com and put a submission in there, and I'll get a hold of you that way.
There you go. Check out GP at thejonesgroup.us.
You got it. U-S.
Yeah. Thejonesgroup.us.
Old radio ads. When was the last time you actually listened to FM radio? Probably not since high school for me.
So like my problem is though, when I hop in my Bronco, like the UI for like the CarPlay, I'm sure you have issues with it. I always have issues with it. So I'll turn it on and it'll automatically, like if I don't plug in to my phone for CarPlay, it'll like start playing the radio. And I
On full
swear
blast?
it plays the same, it's on the same commercial every time I turn on my car.
Dude, so is it always on full blast though too?
Yes, bro.
Yeah,
It's
same.
for some reason I have my car too loud when I turn it off.
Mine happens. That happens to me too. So, fun fact: when I was in high school, if I ever drove like one of my parents' cars or my grandparents' cars, we lived in Matt and I are from a town called Hillsboro, Oregon, which is a pretty Hispanic town over the years, and we had a radio station called 93.1 El Rey. So I would put it on 93.1 El Rey, crank the volume, and then turn the car off and give my parents or my grandparents the keys back. So when they got in the car on 93.1 El Rey, it was blasting mariachi bands.
Cinco, cinco, dos, tres.
It's
Like
awesome.
that, right?
People in the family hated loaning their car to me because that's what would happen. It's awesome. It's awesome. I never got to witness them turning their car on, but I heard about it for sure.
Well, what's funny is actually there's some car, like some of the luxury cars, I think like Audi does it, is like you can have it blasting, but then you turn off the car, you come back in, and it puts it back down to a low volume.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I don't think mine does that. All right, no, I take
Mine
that back.
doesn't.
I think my volume might stay. I'll have to try that.
Mine does. Mine definitely
Yeah.
does. I'll turn it on. It's loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. But no, that's funny. That took me down memory lane.
All right. There was something that I was interested in talking about. You're right, Garrett. And I think I
Let's
want to
do
talk
it.
about highest and best use of time.
Okay.
Now, it's very prevalent for you and me in our business because we charge off of our time in our business. As a CPA firm, we're a CPA firm, the Jones Group. We charge off of time, just like attorneys and some other professional services. If we spend more time on something, we're probably going to charge more on it. I mean, that's pretty typical for overall all projects,
Yep.
but we put it on an exact dollar amount. Look, my hourly rate is whatever. You know, an attorney could be $700 an hour, and then they have someone else that's below them at a lower rate. So we structure our business that we say if Matt's working at something, he's at the highest rate. Garrett's working at a high rate. Other people, our managers, our senior level staff, our staff level, they're all at different rates. And it doesn't necessarily mean one person is better than the other. It's, rates go off of experience, time that we consider you can do the skill. If if my rate is $500 an hour and my staff is $100 an hour, it doesn't mean I do it 5 times as fast as my staff does. It just shows how finite my time is and how high the demand is for it and how little my supply is for my demand. So my rate goes up, right? That's how business owners are. You work with better, your business grows, your hourly rate increases. You might not think of it if you're charging for a product. If you sell a product that doesn't deserve just your time, you might not think of it that way, but that's really how it works. Everyone's asking for your attention. You got to raise that rate. Less people ask for it, and the right people ask for it. And now you start putting your time towards the highest and best use. You start spending things that are the highest and best use of your time, and you delegate tasks that are below you. I think that's kind of what I wanted to go over. There's a lot more we can uncover on that.
Yeah, whatever you buy in the world, like you're paying for someone's time somewhere. If we just use like paper, for example, the guys that cut down the trees, they had to give an estimate for how long it would take them to cut down a tree or probably an entire forest, but you get what I'm saying. They have to charge for their time and their quality and their service, but their time. And then you've got the manufacturer of the paper that has to charge for their time. And the grocery store, they put a little thing in their margin to account for someone going out and placing the paper on shelves for people to buy. Like there's time everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we'll charge for a set price at times too, but that doesn't mean that we didn't factor in how long we think something's going to take as well.
You know what? That's actually something to bring up too. That's very interesting. Let's stop on that for a second. So I think what's also interesting is wondering if I want to charge somebody off of just my hourly rate, or do I charge a fixed price? I want you to, Garrett, can you tell me what we should be thinking about between the two of them, and what should someone want to pay for?
Yeah, speaking for myself personally, what I always try to do is, obviously I talked to you, Matt, about pricing on some things, but I'm always trying to gauge my confidence level, right? So I might ask you, hey, how long do you think this is going to take? And if you are like so adamant, you're like, this is no more than 2 hours. Okay, well, Matt was pretty darn confident. I'll just charge for 2 hours, right? If you come to me and you're like, I feel like once we dig into it, we might run into this, we might run into that. Right there, you might still give me a price, but I'm kind of feeling uneasy, and I might go, you know what, I think we're just better safe than sorry. Let's just charge for our time. So there are those things that come up. I hope I answered your question, but I think for me, sometimes it's just gauging a confidence level.
Well, I got a question for you. So if I'm a client and I go, how do you charge? And what do you think I should want? Should I want to know that a project's going to be open-ended and it's a big project? Do I reward you for spending a ton of time on it, or do I reward you for getting it done fast and in a timely manner?
There's so many different ways with this. I could go with what we do. Tell me more what you're thinking.
Okay, think of it this way. Hey, Garrett, I'll get you that tax return. Let me do something different. I can get you that project. I can get you that project. I can get you the write up on it. This plan, this marketing plan. I can get you this plan, but it's going to take. We charge just at an hourly rate, and you go, well, how much is that? And I go, well, it's we charge at a standard $200 an hour, and we're going to estimate how much time, but it's gonna be a certain amount of time. And you go, all right, well, I want it to be really good. You tell me I want it really good. I'm gonna go, okay, well, we'll spend a lot of time on it, Garrett.
Yeah.
Are you going to reward me for spending more time on it? Or are you going to reward me for saying, Garrett, it's going to be $2,000. It's going to be $2,000 fixed rate. All right. That's what you're going to expect.
Yeah.
Are you going to reward me for, I might go over $2,000, spend more time on it? Or are you going to reward me for fixed rate? You're going to get it to me faster at this price because I can charge more. I'd be happy to charge more.
Yeah. I think you have to write this line of doing what's fair for the client, and also being fair for the company, obviously. I guess I'm trying to find the angle. I get what you're saying. I'm just trying to find which way I want to take this because, I guess for if I think about our company, we charge a fixed rate for most things, but there are things we charge for our time.
We started. Remember when we first started?
Mm-hmm.
We followed the old school way of thought.
Yeah.
Which was we will just charge by the hour.
Right.
And then what did people say? What's your hourly rate?
Correct.
And then we'd say the hourly rate. Yeah. And they'd just walk away.
Correct.
We used to do that.
Yeah.
There's times where it comes into play.
For sure. There definitely is. And if you're setting a set price, and you go over, you've got to be willing to unfortunately eat that if there's nothing you can do with any out of scope time or anything that you did additionally. If you do things under time, then great. You just made a little extra profit.
Yeah, I think the point ultimately that I wanted to make was if you're so like when it comes to charging someone, we're in a world now where a fixed rate and having a fixed rate shares a fixed fee, not a fixed rate, a fixed fee, with some caveats of what's out of the scope of the engagement, what's additional work, whatever that you want to call that in your world, we call it out of scope.
Yeah.
The fixed fee is much more widely accepted now. And it's really is expected rather than the open-ended hourly rate. Right. And I think the reason being is, and I think it's fair because you set expectations between the client and the service provider.
Yep.
Or the professional. Now we are saying, I promise to you, it will take this long and you're going to derive this amount of value from it. And you know what? If you do it in less time, that just meant your hourly rate went up.
Correct.
Now, if you did it in more time, your hourly rate went down. Now, it puts more pressure on the service provider, but it's good because it causes competition. I like that more. Look, if we could charge everything by the hour, we'd be making more money, right? Because then we could take as much time as we wanted.
Yeah, there's definitely, for sure, there are some things, yes.
If it was widely accepted for the new school of thought, we're Gen Z. I'm Gen Z. I think you're still a millennial.
People.
I was born in 1997.
I think I might have just missed the millennial cut. I think I'm still Gen Z.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not just our generation, even millennials too, but like the younger generations, they want the fixed rate. They want the expectations set. What I noticed with older populations, working with older CPAs, definitely they go, look, we'll get it done when it gets done, man. It's going to take this long.
You know what I noticed too with so we bought Book of Business last August with our attorney that helped us buy the book. I remember she goes, I charge hourly, but for this size transaction, I'm expecting it to be X amount. And I think she was maybe 1,000 over what that X amount was. And you and I didn't balk at it at all. She was right within her ballpark. And you and I even asked for a couple of additional calls, so we weren't gonna raise a fit. I think there's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, I charge hourly, but for this type of engagement, I would expect anywhere between blank and blank." I think that's totally fine.
I guess I would say that there's probably I would like it more if I was setting an expectation, setting some sort of expectation, at
Thi-
least saying, hey, we think it'll be this
yeah,
much.
you bring up a good point. Here's something else to consider if anybody out there is setting a price. Make darn sure that you have a very well detailed scope of work,
Yeah.
because if your client wants you to steer outside of that scope of work, we might need to talk about leaders versus saviors here. If you go outside of that scope of work, you have the right to charge more money. So um, I've made videos on leaders versus saviors. A savior basically just says, "Oh yeah, I'll take care of it for you," and then that turns into the client thinking that you're going to help me every single time and do a bunch of free stuff. You're being a savior. If you're a leader, you say, "Hey, look, Susie, this is outside of our scope of our engagement. Before we do it, we're not just going to do it and then tell her, hey, this is outside of our scope. We're going to have to do some additional work here, but we'll just charge it our hourly rates." That is fine. That's a fine add-on. We do that all the time. So, but I just think my point here is having a real, no matter what industry you're in, construction, professional services, doesn't matter. You got to have a clear scope of work. So
You
we saw
do.
this in manufacturing all the time.
And that goes back to setting expectations.
I'll give you an example of having a clear scope of work. We did a project. I used to be in the stainless steel kitchen equipment industry. We did up in Seattle, Starbucks. I don't know if they still have the building because I think they were talking about moving their headquarters. I don't know if it's still there, but they have a building downtown. It's like over by the Mariners Stadium, and we did like 50 of these little like 48-inch long, which is 4 feet long sink tables. So they were stainless steel with rolled edges down, and they had a little sink in it. And what they were little test tables where they would test new types of coffees. So there was 50 of these things. It was on an entire floor of this skyscraper building where they would do testing for new coffee recipes and new drinks, right? And we built the tables and we shipped them, and they were like, "Whoa, all of them are wrong." And this was like a $75,000 project. I mean, that's a good sized project for us. It's not the biggest, but that's a good sized project. A small kitchen is about 35,000 to give you an idea. So 75,000 is a good sized kitchen. Um, and the project manager, and they came back to us. They put the VP of this company. I'm not going to say their name, but big company. We work with them all the time. They're probably 8-9 figure company in the Northwest. I think they're national too. They have a branch down here in Houston. But anyways, we get on a meeting, and we go over it, and I explain, "Hey, here's the shop drawing. Here's our quote. Here's our PO. Here's everything." Right? I had my descriptions so detailed and the shop drawings so detailed, they approved what we built. Well, in our industry, if you approve what we built, that is the scope of work and that's what's being produced, and you signed off on it. And about 5 minutes into the call, the little project manager, she's complaining that we screwed up this $75,000 job and that Starbucks is gonna be pissed and all this stuff. The VP 5 minutes in goes, hold on, whatever, I can't remember her name, Susie. This is on us. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later. I mean, the VP just shut it down and was like, "We'll get you a PO for another $75,000." So we got to redo a project. So we basically did $150,000. We made $150,000 in revenue off a $75,000 project. So that, I just wanted to make that point. That's a way that your scope will help you.
I like that. We were going to talk about highest and best use, but I like this because I
Long
think about
story.
it's
I'm
back.
so sorry.
No, this is great because we're back. I want to say it again. Setting expectations. That's what setting the scope is you're setting expectations.
Yep.
You can tie that into anything, relationships and business.
Yep.
And business incorporates relationships. For example, you want to set expectations with your clients so they know what you're going to do for them and what they'll be compensating you for. You also need to do it with your team. Your team needs to know the expectations. Your team, your employees, they need to know what you expect of them. Do they know that you're going to push them? Do they know that early, and do they know it often? Right? Are we setting goals for them? Right? Because now if I have a team member that I have one that responds on a Teams message instantly and responds to every Teams message, and they communicate very well. Then I have another one that, they might take time to respond. They might not respond to every message. They might ignore some, whether they ignore them or they just took additional time. If I don't set an expectation of, hey, I need you to respond to every Teams message I send you in X amount of time. If you don't set that expectation, they don't know that they had to do that. Sometimes it's just communicating your expectations. It doesn't mean that they're a bad worker or a bad employee. They just didn't know the expectations. And I think that's underestimated, especially with business owners, because that's what it looks like to be leaders. You got to set expectations for your team. You got to set expectations for yourself and for the team. You got to be predictable.
Yeah. Exactly.
So everybody knows. It's got to be obvious, and you got to communicate it early and often. Expectations can get forgotten. Mm-hmm. If they're not written down, then you can't, just like Garrett said, he had documentation. You had documentation of it. If it wasn't written down, that would have been a whole hullabaloo, right?
Documentation, we had multiple forms of it too. I mean, we had descriptions with words, we had quotes, and we had actual physical shop drawings of what we were producing.
Yep.
Yeah.
If it wasn't written down, if you didn't have the signature from that gal, that project manager of the go ahead,
yep,
that you would not have had such an easy resolution to the matter.
Correct.
Right? It would have been a he said, she said. So even the documentation of that expectation was so key.
Correct.
All that's so important. Documenting expectations, not only with your clients, but you also got to document them with your team. Keeping a file for your team, making sure that, if there's something that they want out of the, knowing what they want and what you expect of them, that you have it written down, whether that's an employee manual, you have your goals set, you have your core values set, defining what core values are. You have all these things available for the team. I mean, a lot of it's HR crap, but it's also super important for your team to know all these things.
Yeah.
So you have the right people in place, and that you continue to train them to be the right people.
Right.
And it gets the wrong people out.
Yes. And the last point I'll make on that is, like Matt's saying, your team needs to be aware of what the scope of work is. And Matt and I do a great job of documenting that in each project file that we have. So literally any employee in our company can go, what's the scope of work here? And they can click into a folder and there it is. So it's very important to do that. So, you wanted to talk about highest best use. We got on a tangent. I'll own that. That was my bad.
No, dude, I'm so happy we talked about what we did.
Yeah.
We can get back to it though.
Yeah. So highest and best use. What do you want to touch on there? Because I think we can have a good conversation.
Man, there's so many ways to go.
Yeah.
One is especially as business owners, I'll say my background coming from an athletic perspective, from being an athlete. A lot of my thought was, I just got to get better at this. I got to be able to do more. We played quarterback, right? So playing quarterback, you got to be able to make all the throws.
Yep.
You got to be able to do all the things. I go, all right, well, if I'm faster, then in this situation, I can run. If I can do this, I can do that, right? If I learn what the receiver needs to know, then I can teach them better. If I can read this more defenses, then I know what to do when I solve all of them, right? And I'm always like, what can I do more? What can I do more? Can I spend more time lifting? Can I spend more time in the film room? And then you get to be a business owner and you're thinking, okay, well, I got to do the same thing. I got to compensate for everybody, right? If I'm a quarterback and I got to compensate for the fact that my receiver's slower, I got to change how I throw the trajectory of that ball. right? I like how Tom Brady says it. If you got a faster receiver, if your receiver is faster than the defense, you put more air on it. If your receiver is slower than the defense, which most cornerbacks are faster than receivers, you put less air on the ball because you got to get it there faster, right?
Yeah.
I always had an issue. I think a lot of entrepreneurs have an issue of thinking in that perspective that they try to apply that where they have to know everything and have to do everything in the business.
Right.
Because they're the best ones at it. You go, well, I'm the best. I'm the best thrower on the field. I should play quarterback. I'm the best catcher, so I should also play receiver. I'm the best tackler, so I should play linebacker. I'm the best blocker, so I should play. That's what they think.
Yeah. If you put Jeff Bezos in an Amazon van, would he know what to do?
Right?
Probably not. He wouldn't know how to run the system. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So like take Lamar Jackson, for instance. Lamar Jackson, people were saying, remember when he was going to get drafted, they were saying, hey, he should play receiver.
Yeah.
Because he's so athletic and so fast.
Yeah.
What was his highest and best use on a team? Quarterback. He's one MVP. He's the best. He's the best quarterback on. He's the best quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. Or that's his best. That's his best attribute is being a quarterback because of all the things he can do. Right. Entrepreneurs have to, as a business owner, you have to know what your highest and best use is, and what's not. You have to put someone else in that seat.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean you're not good at it. It just means is that the best thing you should be looking at doing? We only have 24 hours in the day, and we sleep for some of it. We don't have that much time. What are you going to do with your hours? Is it one thing that we like to use is bookkeeping worth your time? Doing your accounting. Hey, Garrett, I trust you are a smart guy and you can do your accounting. I trust you. I won't put it past you. But is it worth your time? Do you want to take the time to learn all of the rules and to enter in every transaction and to reconcile your bank account? Do you want to do all that? Probably not. Is it worth your time? Probably not. What is worth your time as a business owner, right?
Yeah, I don't think at any level.
No.
Yeah.
Is it worth your time? The sooner you figure that out and address it, the faster your business will grow.
Yeah. And
the further you'll get, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You got something to touch on that?
Yeah. I've got some funny analogies that go with it, and I've used before, but it'd be like if our admin came to you and said, "Hey, Matt, we're out of printer paper or toilet paper or printer ink." Be like, okay, she doesn't do that. Rachel, we love you. You don't do that. But it'd be like if someone like that came to you and said that, that's not the highest and best use of Matt's time. Just go order more paper. I don't care. I'm trying to think of another one. Okay, for us, the highest and best use of Matt's time is not to take all these introductory discovery calls that I take. Highest and best use of my time is to bring clients into our firm. Keep existing clients happy, but also bring in new business. That's the highest and best use of my time. Going to events, meeting people, having calls, just constantly talking. We've been talking about being visible in the marketplace a lot, Matt. Like that's my highest and best use. I could eliminate everything else. If that's what I'm doing, we're successful right now.
Yeah. Let me give some more examples. You need to look at timesheets, right? You got to look at reports.
Do that.
Like timesheets.
Yeah.
Is it worth your time to run payroll? No.
And that's why we just literally, this next payroll run on Monday will be, I finally have someone else doing payroll. Thank God.
Nice.
So,
but yeah, it's those things, right? Is it worth do I need to review the tax return? Do I sign off on the tax return? Do I need to prepare it? No.
Correct. No.
That's not the highest and best use of my time. Someone else can do it. Does it need to go through me before I send it out? Yes.
Right.
Do I need to enter in the transactions into the books for a client? No. Nope. Do I need to review the report for accuracy and run an analysis? I might not even need to run the analysis. I can give that to somebody else. But do I check to see what the analysis is and make decisions on it? Yes, that's the highest and best use of my time.
Sure.
As a business owner, you got to make decisions. It's not, once you come up with the formula of how to do a process, the people below you might not know how to make decisions on it.
Yep. But you
That's
can
going to be
delegate
really
and
important.
leverage
You can
it.
train people to make decisions.
Yep. You can
Right?
leverage and
But
delegate people to do the things.
right? Yeah. But the decisions is what's the highest and best use for a lot of your time, is
Well
taking
put.
the information, making the critical thinking skills, and then coming up with a decision on how to act upon the information you were just given.
Yeah. Well put. Let's talk about how a business owner can identify something that's not at the highest and best use. For
Yeah.
me, it's always been something that I see come up repetitively, right? I'm like, why is it ever? And the big thing for us has been we use Claude as AI to kind of help us with some things. Administratively, with sales, presentations, producing content, we use AI a lot, right? As an assistant, not as the end all be all, but an assistant. I would say, if any business owners listen to this that have something that's repetitive every day, something that's taking you like 15, 20, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours every day or every week, something that you're able to pass down to an admin or a staff person or a manager or something at any level, wherever you think it makes sense. If you find yourself doing something repetitive that it's taking up your time from doing what your goals and your mission is, right? Like I just said, mine is bringing on new clients. If something is getting in the way of that, I need to identify, is this a one-off or is this a pattern, right? Like, trying to think of like a one-off. Let's think of something that's getting in the way of that. This is super dumb one, but like my power goes out right before I'm supposed to be on a Teams call, and I lose power. I don't have power. I could take it on my phone. That's a one-off problem. A repetitive issue would be like Matt just said it. I'm running payroll. Every 2 weeks, and I'm like, this is taking up about probably 2 to 3 hours of my month. What could I do with those 2 to 3 hours? Because hiring our payroll provider to run our payroll was cheaper than what I can produce in 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I can produce at a higher level than what that'll cost us. So why not? So that's where I think you can identify something that may not be the highest and best use of your time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also if you can document the process.
Yeah.
If you can document it, if you can write it down and
someone else
train
can
it,
do it.
someone else can do it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Or AI.
Yeah. If AI can do it, definitely you hand it off. I mean, that's why we have it nowadays.
Yep.
No, but
Exactly.
if you can document it, you can write it down and it's systematic.
Yeah.
You can definitely give it to somebody else.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And you can work on something that's, more critical thinking, decision making, interacting with people,
Mm-hmm.
tons of ways to skin that cat. But what is the highest and best use of your time? That's what really helps you grow.
What's going to move the needle
as a business owner?
What's going to move the needle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of good points there. Is there anything else we want to touch on with highest and best use?
Let's see here.
Maybe think of some examples from your day to day that maybe in the past weren't the highest and best use and how you resolved them. Can you think of anything?
Yeah. So, one thing that for me as and a lot of CPAs can see this, is I'm sure tons of other business owners, but it definitely happens with CPAs, is you get an email of like a question or an issue from a client, and it's not, it could be within the scope of a return. It could be out of the scope of a return. It could be any kind of project, but they just, all of a sudden an email comes out of the blue, and it's not a quick answer. You have to research the answer briefly before you give your technical response. All right. Now, they're asking me because they trust me. They work with me. I'm the one that onboarded them. I'm the one that signs off on the return. What they don't need to know is that I can hand it to somebody else. They do that work and they give it back to me, and then I can hand it off. So I used to always answer every question. Well, I'll tell you what, half the time I'm learning the answer when I answer the question because they're so highly technical.
Yep.
I mean, newsflash, CPAs don't know all the tax code. Sorry to break it to you. We don't know the tax code. I don't know it like a Christian knows the Bible word for word, okay? I know tax code. I know where to find it. I know how to find it, but I don't know it all back on the top of my head, all right? So when I get a question, there's a rule that has to be placed, right? First, I got to go through the exercise of how do I apply it, all right? Really, they might give me a long list of things that happened, a story. I might get a story. And in the story, there's a question. There's at least one question because it's a tax question. That's why they brought it to me. What is the tax question? I got to identify it. Then I have to go and do research to figure out what applies to that question. And then I come up with an answer, right? I can do it, or I can give that to somebody else. Now, I used to do all of them. Now what I do is I give it to someone else on the team to, one, give them the opportunity for growth, and two, to save me the time from doing that research. Let's say it saves me 70% of the process. The rest of the 30 is me delegating it to them, giving them a summary of, hey, I think this is the question.
Mm-hmm.
You should look at these and then come back to me. I'll review it. I review it. I give it a thumbs up. I respond to the client. So maybe I do 30% of the process now when the rest of the 70% is getting done by them, right? So that's an example. That's one example. Think of it like I'm a 10, okay? Pat myself on the back. I'm a 10. So I'm a 10. I give a 10 effort. I give 10 skill, 10 technical knowledge to any specific task. I put 10 in it. Well, if I get I hire 2 people and they're not quite a 10, maybe they're 2 sevens. I have 2 sevens doing the same task. Well, if I walk away and I go, all right, at this work, I'm going to have 2 sevens do it. 7 plus 7 is 14. That's more than 10, right?
Yeah.
7 plus 7 can get more done than me by myself as the 10. That's what highest and best use looks like, is giving it to someone that might not be at the same level as me, but because of it, we get more done and we're doing the things at our level of skill.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that you couldn't hand it over to someone at a lower level and say, hey, before you send this off to the client, let me take a 5-minute look at it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not even the lower it's not even considered you're handing it to a lower level. It could also just mean someone's got a better strength to it. By the way, you know what my problem is I got too much that I want to think about in a day. So what is highest and best use of some of the time for that tax research is to give it to somebody that can focus on it.
Yep.
That's why you hire a team, because especially as an owner or someone that's client facing, you're always, just like Garrett too. I know both of us, we're always talking to a bunch of people. So when it comes to the technical stuff that we go, all right, we need to get this return done or we need to get this project done, we give it to somebody else and they have 6 hours of uninterrupted time that they can get it done.
Yeah. You bring up a really good point, because we run into that sometimes where, like, for those of you that don't know, my responsibility, like I said, is bringing on new business. Matt is basically leading the tax practice and also doing a lot of advisory, right? We do have a tax manager, so that's been a huge help. But what happens a lot of the time is people will ask me tax questions. They'll text me or email me or call me. And then sometimes people will say, hey, Matt, here's a referral for you. I'd like you to meet Johnny. Well, okay, they just don't know, and that's fine. What we'll do is, because Matt understands that onboarding a client, it's not his responsibility, but it's also not the highest and best use of his time. So I go, hey, thank you so much for the referral. I want to introduce you to my partner, Garrett. Awesome. He just passed it on to me, right? Doesn't mean I need to ever go back to Matt and say, hey, what should I do here? I know what I'm doing with an onboarding of a new client, right? Same thing with me. I can easily go, hey, here's Matt's calendar link to book a tax meeting with him, a tax advisory call with him. I think you could benefit from one right now. I also just created a billable event by doing that. So that is also the highest and best use, as you said, at the same level. So I just passed it on to Matt. Matt passes it on to me. That happens. That feels like we do that almost weekly.
Yeah, back to what we just said, right? Lamar Jackson, he's so athletic. He ran a 4.3, I think, at the
Yeah,
combine. I mean,
something like that.
dude's an athlete. He could play corner, he could play receiver, he could play a
Yeah,
scat back, right? He could play safety. He plays quarterback. That's the
exactly.
best thing he could play on the field.